In this video, we'll be talking about the Microsoft Exchange Online administrative tools, and we'll be looking at how we can use the Exchange Online user interface as one of the administrative tools. From the user interface, we are able to perform a few number of activities like creating a mailbox, deleting and restoring a mailbox, creating, deleting and restoring a shared mailbox, creating groups and groups conversion, that is converting a distribution list group to a Microsoft 365 group, creating transport rules, which is also known as mail flow rules, then role assignments. We have different roles in the EAC. We have admin roles, and then we have user roles. And finally, we can perform different types of migration from the user interface. Let's take a look at how we can do this from the live environment, that is going back into our Exchange Online Admin Center. So here we are in the Exchange Online Admin Center. Let's take a look at how we can create a user mailbox, create a shared mailbox, create groups using the Exchange Admin Center user interface as an administrative tool. So the first thing we are going to do now is to create a user mailbox. For us to create a user mailbox, we need to create a user account from the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. And after creating that account, we assign an Exchange plan to that user account. So here on the products dashboard, we can see that there is an active license on this tenant, which is the Microsoft 365 E5 trial. So let's take a look at the services in this Microsoft 365 E5 trial. We expect that this subscription has an exchange plan, and if it has an exchange plan, then we are able to assign that license to a user account to have a mailbox. So we want to confirm if this Microsoft 365 E5 has an exchange plan. So we will create a new user account. To create a new user account, you go to the active users navigation, click on it, it will display the dashboard for you, and you choose the option to add a user. Adding a user, let's give it a name. I'm going to give the first name to be Nancy and the last name to be LinkedIn. Nancy LinkedIn, and the display name would be Nancy LinkedIn. And also the username, I could just call it NanLink for the username. So I have the option to select if I want the password to be created automatically. However, I would give a custom password. Be careful when giving password to your users. Ensure that the password has the required combination: uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and symbols. And you could also allow the user to change password at first login. So I'm going to select that option to allow Nancy to change password at first login. Then go to next. At this stage, we have to select the location. This location simply means the location where Nancy will be using the license. I'm going to be selecting United States. And the next step is to assign a user product license. So I'll be selecting the Microsoft 365 E5 plan for Nancy. Then I'll go to next. Do I want to assign a role to Nancy? Of course, yes. I want to give Nancy the Exchange admin role. So at this point, I will select the second option for Admin Center Access and select the first box. So here right now, I am assigning the Exchange Administrator role to Nancy, and then I'll go to next. So here is a summary of the new user details. That is Nancy details. I have the display and username. The username is also the email address, the password, product licenses, roles, and profile info. Then I'll finish adding. At this point, I'm done creating a user account for Nancy. So let's check Nancy's details here once again, just to confirm if the license assigned to Nancy as an exchange plan. So I'll double click on Nancy's account to display the details for me. Under license and apps, you can see we have some navigations at the top listed horizontally. We have accounts, we have devices, license and apps, mail, then OneDrive. So I'm focusing on the license and apps navigation right now. So then I will scroll down. Here we have 74 applications on this license. So I will click on the expansion arrow to see all the services that are provided by the Microsoft 365 E5. So scrolling down gradually, you can see that this license has an Azure Active Directory Premium 1, Premium 2, Azure Information Protection. But what we are looking at is the Exchange Online plan. So we can see that this Microsoft 365 E5 license has an Exchange Online plan too, which means Nancy would successfully have a mailbox automatically created for her. So this is what we want to confirm. We are saving changes. And right now we'll close this dashboard and go back to the Exchange Admin Center to confirm if Nancy's mailbox has been created. Sometimes it takes some minutes, like up to 30 minutes, and sometimes it happens immediately. It depends on the data center location. So when you're creating a mailbox for your user and you don't get an update immediately, do not worry. It takes just about a maximum of 1 hour. So let's go to the mailbox navigation here to confirm if we have Nancy mailbox already created. Remember, I told you in the last video that we can use the refresh button to update the list of mailbox created. So let's use the search bar to search for Nancy mailbox. Awesome. So we can see that Nancy's mailbox has been successfully created and added to the list of mailboxes in the Exchange Admin Center. So Nancy can now receive email with this address, send email and perform operations with this address. So the next thing we are going to be doing now is we'll be deleting Nancy's mailbox and then restore the mailbox again. So let's see. How do we delete the mailbox? Remember, the mailbox was created by creating a user account. So also deleting the mailbox will require us to delete the user account. So we need to go back to the active user section in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Here we are. So I'm going to be deleting Nancy's account. I'll click on the ellipse from the top listed information and select the first option, delete user. So I have some options to select, however, only one of them is activated. Email aliases will be removed. So the moment I delete Nancy's account, email aliases will also be deleted. So I'll ask it to go ahead and delete Nancy's account. When a user account is deleted, it stays in the deleted user section for 30 days before it is completely deleted. So let's go to the deleted user section from the left navigation panel of the Microsoft 365 Admin Center to confirm if Nancy's account has been successfully deleted. It should be enlisted in that section. So I will click on the deleted users, and here we can see we have Nancy's account already deleted. So we are trying to let us see how we can use the Exchange Admin Center as an administrator tool to perform some actions like creating a user account, creating a mailbox, deleting a mailbox, restoring a mailbox, creating, deleting, and restoring a shared mailbox, creating different types of groups, assigning roles, and performing migration. The Windows PowerShell is another administrative tool that we can use within the Exchange Online Administrative Center to perform some tasks. It is also a tool that the global admins or the Exchange Online administrators can make use of navigate around the Exchange Online using command line, like creating a new mailbox, deleting a mailbox, or restoring a mailbox, creating different types of groups, assigning user roles, admin roles, and so many other functions that can be performed using the Exchange Online PowerShell. So here in this video, I want to show us how to create a new user mailbox using the command line environment using the Exchange Online PowerShell. So first, we are going to set execution policy on this Windows machine to remote sign, just to be sure that we have a default configuration on this machine. So I'll be pasting this command line, set execution policy remote sign. Then I'll click enter, and my answer to this question is A, which means yes to all. I want the changes to take place in every section of this machine. Then after this, the next thing I'm going to be doing is to install the module. Installing the module, I'll need to run this command line, install module name Exchange Online Management. Once the module is installed, the next thing I need to do is to import the module. I need to import the module before I can be able to connect to the Exchange Online environment. Do not forget, we are trying to access the Exchange Online interface using the command line, using PowerShell. So the same credentials that we use to log into the interface is the same credentials we are going to use to connect using the PowerShell. So I'm going to click on the connect line now for me to be able to access using my admin credentials, and I will select the account I want to use to connect with. Once the running is completed, then I can go ahead to run the new mailbox command line to create my new email address. So there are parameters that we need to use. When we want to create a new mailbox, we need to use the new mailbox keyword. The same information we provided when using the interface to create a user account, information like the first name, the last name, the display name, password, is the same information we are going to provide in a command line form structure using the PowerShell. As you can see the script, you have the new mailbox, which is the standard parameter to create a new mailbox. Then you have the username, the first name, the last name, you have the display name and password. You can set the password to be whatever that suits you. Here in the script, we have myp@SSWORD. You may change the password to any other sentence or statement that suits you. So I'm going to go ahead to the enter button to create this user account with Steve Smith. In a couple of seconds, I should have this procedure completed and information to confirm that this user account has been created. So let's just give it a few seconds for the operation to be completed. Once the operation is completed, we are going to have details of the account created, and then we can log into the admin center itself to confirm if we really had a new user account created with the name Steve Smith. Okay. All right, so we have this information stating that this email address has already been used. So I'm going to use the upper arrow to edit the name so we can create another name. So I'm going to change this email address to Steve. So I'm just going to run through using the backspace. All I just want to change is the email address, and I'm going to add Steve to it. So now I'm having an email address Steve Smith. And I'll also take my arrow to the back to change this to Steve Smith New. So I'm changing the display name to Steve Smith New. And I will go ahead to create another account with a new identity.